Star Wars is in a tricky situation. You see, it's probably one of the most beloved yet the most hated franchises of all time. With something like the original trilogy being so successful, then coming to the prequels, which were kind of hated at the time but now starting to become a bit more beloved just when their put coincided with the sequel trilogy. And in terms of games, it is no different. We've had some great titles, the original Star Wars Battlefront games, Knights of the Old Republic. Even coming up to the modern day, we've had the new Star Wars Battlefront 2, which as a disaster of a launch became something that is now a well-beloved game to the point where people really want another one there. But there have been some issues along the way, and none have been more famous than Star Wars 1313. Because this is perhaps the most infamous cancelled Star Wars game of all time. But there has been some gameplay, and it seems like we missed out on more than we could have ever imagined. First of all, this was released by The Vault, released about 3 weeks ago. You know, Star Wars 1313 didn't have all that much on it, but I'll get into later what we actually did know about the unreleased title. However, a couple weeks ago, this was shown. Boba Fett. Some new unreleased gameplay, and I'm assuming coinciding with the Boba Fett series, they thought, hey, we've got this leaked gameplay that no one has ever seen, we might as well release it now. And it looks pretty cool. Following Boba Fett through the underworld, level 1313, the way of the bounty hunter. At the moment, you can see it's got very basic textures and placeholder. You see, this project was shelved a long time ago. It never came to be, and it probably never will become anything. But this gameplay gives us a pretty good idea of what they were going for. A third-person bounty hunter simulator that let you hunt down these targets using your skills in parkour and free running, because, I mean, that was very popular at the time in 2012. Running through the levels of Coruscant, seeing the Star Wars universe in the background, it looks like this was going to be something special. But overall, what was Star Wars 1313? It was an action-adventure game under development by LucasArts. Don't know if you remember those guys. The game would take a more mature, gritty direction compared to past Star Wars video games, but it was still based around the bounty hunting world. Fast-paced, gadget and weapon-based combat using many tools and ways to capture your enemies that the bounty hunter would have at hand, trying to stray away from the Force and lightsaber-based combat because it had been so saturated at this point. The game itself was supposed to revolve around Boba Fett himself and his early adulthood, navigating through the scum of the civilization in the underground areas of Coruscant, known as Level 1313. The game itself was trademarked in 2012, and in the E3 of the same year, we were shown a small little demo, which is what you can see on screen now. However, as time passed, as development continued, there was apparently some issues, and on April 3rd, 2013, it was announced that the Walt Disney Company, who had purchased Star Wars at this point, wanted to cease internal development at LucasArts, laying off its staff except a skeleton crew of less than 10 employees. The reason they did this is still kind of up for debate, but it kind of came out a few years ago that Disney wanted to separate themselves from George Lucas and George Lucas's name. They'd already bought Star Wars in 2012 for around $4 billion. They wanted to make it their thing, and having Lucasfilm and LucasArts still a big part of the Star Wars franchise, making games and other things under the license, kind of still linked them to George Lucas for obvious reasons. As a result, all projects, however, were shut down, and one of the biggest casualties of this was Star Wars 1313. A Lucasfilm representative stated, "After evaluating our position on the games market, we've decided to shift LucasArts from an internal development to a licensing model, minimizing the company's risk while achieving a broader portfolio of quality Star Wars games. As a result of this change, we've had layoffs across the organization." Now, look, Star Wars 1313 at this point has gone. It's pretty much abandoned completely. There were rumors about it maybe being picked up by another developer at the time, and even in 2015, where the license for Star Wars were given out to people like DICE to make Star Wars Battlefront, maybe Star Wars 1313 could be given to someone else to carry on that torch. Yet Disney did decide in 2014 not to renew the trademark of 1313, meaning that trademark's gone. Pretty much has been completely abandoned, and meaning we'll probably never see it again. And this takes us on to today. Many Star Wars fans really wanted to see this title. It had so much potential. It was bringing us a new side to the Star Wars universe that we hadn't really seen before, focusing on bounty hunters and real people in this gritty universe, not just the space wizards that we'd been focusing on in the films and past games as well. And I'd love to see something similar to this in the future. This gameplay showed that there was a lot of potential here. The animations look incredibly smooth, despite the rest of it looking very placeholder at this point, and I think that was something big that they were really trying to work on. But will we get Star Wars 1313 in the future? I very much doubt it. However, it has recently been announced that 3 new Star Wars games are being worked on. Unfortunately, one of these is not Star Wars Battlefront 3. That's been canned, which is very, very sad. But we might get something great in the future, and more specifically, they have revealed that one of them at least is going to be a first-person shooter. And of course, I will be covering that on this, the Resonant FPS channel. But leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, leave a dislike if you didn't. But until then, I will see you in the next one.